Hi there. Well, there doesn't seem to be enough daylight at the moment to be posting much on going to ground. So a little evening film from Ramsbury House with me, Andrew Rumsey. But there's also another reason why I haven't been able to stray far from home. And she's lying here curled up on the floor next to me. And here she is. This is Effie, our new little Portuguese water dog puppy who has webbed feet. Apparently, her mother is a dog that belongs to a friends of ours locally, and Rebecca, my wife, fell in love with her, the dog, and when she had a litter, we decided to take the plunge, quite literally, with a water dog. And so Effie arrived last Tuesday evening, and we've had her for a week, and she's really rather splendid. I've never been entirely sure about dogs. Regular viewers will know that I'm a great cat fan, and Merlin isn't entirely sure about Effie, but she's winning me over very rapidly, and soon I hope that Effie will accompany me on early morning walks for going to ground in the Wiltshire countryside. Portuguese water dogs were apparently carried messages between ships in, would it have been the First World War? I don't think they would have been needed. Maybe it was before that, because they wouldn't have been needed much thereafter. But they're messenger dogs which swam between boats, and in their show cut, their fur is cut in a sort of streamlined water sort of watermark down their middle, which looks a bit comical. But we shan't be doing that with her. We like her shaggy. So I'll show you her again. Her name, appropriately for a water dog, is from Ephra. Her full name is Ephra, and again, as you might know, the Ephra is a lost river of London that I'm very fond of, and my band, the Ephras, took its name from it, and so we thought Effie was a good watery name. And while she's a puppy and has a boisterous moment, she's really placid and mellow, which I'm really glad about. So that's the new addition to our family. I thought you'd like to see her. Well, today the church remembers a 16th century mystic called John of the Cross, St. John of the Cross. And it's appropriate that he's remembered at this time of year. I'm sure it's no accident, because he's a poet and a thinker who embraced the darkness as we approached the darkest time of the year, and pursued God in darkness, the via negativa, as it's sometimes called, the negative way, looking for the light in what was not light, not by pursuing what was not God, but by looking for God in the places of absence, if you see what I mean. Not being afraid of the darkness where God appeared not to be, but acknowledging that the darkness represented all that we cannot know and pursue in our own strength, and waiting on God there at the end of our own ability, at the end of our own light, where our light gives out, and there meeting God, being found by him, if you like. And so a lot of his writing is about the patient contemplation, the patient pursuit of God. And it's very passionate language. In some respects, it feels quite awkward to read and hear, but you might know of his famous poem, The Dark Night of the Soul, which speaks of his passionate desire for God and seeking him in the darkness, the dark places. And that's the Advent message, of course, isn't it? The hope of light in the dusk of the year. I'm not going to read you a John of the Cross reading this evening, but I did want to read you a poem that I came across again this morning when preparing for a meeting with local clergy here, and it was a poem that my mum had written on a scrap of paper and sent to me once. Bless her, Mum used to do that quite regularly, and I've kept those little recommendations because she knew a good poem when she saw one. And it's from Denise Levertov, a poet, 20th century American poet that we've spoken about before on Going to Ground. And in her lovely book, The Sands of the Well, she has a little series of short poemlets called Psalm Fragments. And this is just one of those fragments. I thought it was rather appropriate for the theme and the time of year. Lord, I curl in thy grey gossamer hammock that swings by one elastic thread to thin twigs that should break, but don't. I do nothing, I give you nothing, yet you hold me minute by minute from falling. Lord, you provide. So from me at Effie this evening, God bless you as you go to ground.